Can you brief on your past experiences and your roles that you have played in all the projects that you have been part of?
Myself, Mogan, I am working some of the top MNCs. So I have around 8+ experience in overall IT and 5+ experience in big data. So I am dealing with Hive, PySpark, and SQL, and Python, and MacroDisser, and HDFS. So those are the technology I am working right now. This is the overall brief about me.
Okay, so the projects that you have worked on, the last one that you have worked on, or the current one that you have been part of. So the tech stack that's been used and the role you have played in that.
Yeah, so we are dealing with banking domain and the trading domain. So what is my daily process is I have to extract the data from Oracle database and I have to place that file into HDFS. I have to load into, we are creating that Hive, we are creating as 2 stages, stage 1 and stage 2. First we have to load that HDFS into stage 1 and then we have to load into stage 2. Once the data available, we have to do some of the aggregation on the derived columns. Based on the PySpark script, we are doing some of the aggregation and logic and development, and we are providing that output for the client. So these are my daily activities. This is a daily batch run. So once that batch is completed, I have to modify some of the, in case of any error in that batch, I have to fix. So other than I have to develop few of the logic as per the business development for the remaining hours. This is my daily activity.
Okay, so when you said like you are bringing data from Oracle to HDFS in two stages, right? Like what are the transformations that are being applied in each of these stages?
That Oracle and Hive, we are using Python as a tool to get that. The Oracle, we are having around 40+ tables. So each table we have to convert a file and we are placing into HDFS. So we are doing some of the .SQL files. So we are railway return select star from. So we are including some of the logic. We want to convert any date format. We are given all the logic into that SQL file itself. So once the data available in that Hive, we are doing all the transformations and the logics. We are not dealing anything in that intermediate level. We are doing all the logic transformation in high level only.
When you said you are using Python, is it like is Python along with Spark or
Python is only for getting Oracle data into HDFS. Once the data available in the HDFS, we are loading into Hive. So once the data available in that Hive, we are using PySpark to do the derivation of based on Hive tables.
Can you tell what lazy evaluation is?
Lazy evaluation in the sense PySpark is commonly lazy evaluation. Once you give that action, then only PySpark will do the performance. Until it will do that only creating that process, we have to do the final step. So once we have to give that action, then only it will do the process. Until it will not do any process.
So there is a term called for that plan. You know that what it is called?
The term is called lazy evaluation, right?
No. I mean, lineage.
Yeah, we having that RDD with the PySpark. We having the lineage graph and tag. The lineage graph in the sense, once you created a RDBR, it will do that process of what are things we need to do. It will create a pre-processing like that map of, so which tasks we need to do that and which tasks we have to do next. So those kind of process, it will show somewhere that process called a lineage graph. So once the lineage is created, then DAG will work based on the lineage. So the name is called the lineage graph. Based on the lineage, DAG will create. So DAG we having that stage on the task process happening in the tag.
Okay. How many nodes do you have in your cluster?
I am using a 20 node cluster. 2 nodes for name node and remaining 18 for data nodes. And I am using a 16 core processor and 64 GB RAM and 450 GB hard disk.
These are the specifications of data node, or
Data node.
what about the name node?
Name node we having same 16 core processor. The name node we having around 640 GP. Remaining everything is same.
So why do you think like you have a bigger hard disk in name node than data node?
Name node we are storing all the metadata. So in name node we will giving more workload. That's why we are increasing the name node hard disk is more compared to data node. So the name node is out of our process, right? In case of any failure, we can't able to retrieve. That's why we are giving more space. In case of any space suddenly increase overnight or 1 week, so we can't able to tolerate those kind of scenarios. So that's why we are giving more space in that name node.
Okay, so do you think name node stores the metadata in RAM or hard disk?
It will store in hard disk.
So why on hard disk? If it is in hard disk, it will be difficult. It would be better if to store the metadata in RAM so that it can be accessed much faster when compared to hard disk, right?
Whenever data is required, those data it will get that hard disk content to store in that memory and it will do the process.
Okay, so when you restart the cluster, right? Like when you are restarting the cluster from scratch, so how does the name node know what are all the metadata from the data nodes? How does it collect?
Whenever you restarted, that name node goes under the safe mode. So safe mode, it will not do any write process. It will do that only it will allow only the read process. So once the name node is back, it will get the data from the secondary name node. Secondary name node that parallelly, that periodically, every 1 hour depends on the time. We can set that every 1 hour it will take that FS image and the edit flag. It will combine and it will store. So once the name node is back, it will get that information from secondary name node. It will do the process and it will back the alive of the name node.
Okay, so the jobs that you have run using Spark, right? How often? How frequently are they run? What's the schedule? How often are they run?
We are running 2 times per day. We are running 9 o'clock and evening 4 o'clock. 2 pages per day.
Okay, so how did you do you submit any have any parameters while submitting these jobs?
Yeah, we are submitting based on the part submit. We are giving that executor code, driver memory, and driver. Those are the things we are giving for submitting that right now.
How did you arrive at the values for those parameters?
So we are having that Spark lens. We are having the tool called Spark lens. So once we execute that, it will give that how much memory we need to give for that particular job. So other than that, we have to calculate based on the cluster set and available core. We have to calculate. So those are the things we are doing while submitting that Spark job.
So what are the errors that you typically experience while developing these Spark jobs or while running them in production?
So that while running the production, we will get the two types of errors: driver out of memory and executor out of memory. Some of the scenario based on the if you are using that collect as a action, so those time it will get that all the data from the executor and the driver. So that file is user then your driver, then you will get that driver out of memory error. So we face those scenarios, and some of the scenarios if you are using a yarn overloaded. So those kind of we are using that yarn heap overloaded error, and if we are using any big partitions or high concurrency, if you give more number of executors for single cluster, then it will get that more number of it will create more number of cores. So those time we will get that high concurrency error. So those are the errors we are facing. In case of some of the folder is not created, those kind of error. In case some of the folder is created but the name is not matched as per the script name. So those kind of error we face it so far in the production.
Yeah. So how do you resolve this? How do you find what when you said like bigger partitions and all, right? Like how do you, and the errors you have listed, how do you like overcome those? What changes do you do in the job so that you won't get those errors in the future, like minimize that error occurrence?
Yeah, we will try to split that partition for based on we are giving that same partition for all the cluster. We don't want to give that overload for single cluster, and we try to avoid that actions inside the driver program. Like we don't want to use that I used to previously collect in that PySpark script. It will collect all the information from driver executor to driver. So I remove the collect. I use the alternate for that collect. So those kind of scenarios we were faced, and we are giving a solution for that error.
You have been using Hive and Spark for more than 5 years now.
Yeah.
What features of Hive and Spark do you think would be improved? Like if you were to add new features or modify the existing features of Hive and Spark, what changes would you make, or what new features would you bring in?
So if you consider that I will try to implement that which other things are available in that RDBMS. So like if you consider the RDBMS, we are having that SAD1 slowly changing dimension, right? So those kinds of concepts is not available in that Hive. So those kind of topics I will include it in Hive, where if I am a new developer in that Hive. So then I will include that the stored procedure. Stored procedure we can write whatever things are available in that stored procedure. We can execute it. So those things are I will implement it in that Hive.
Okay, so coming to Hive, right? You have said SCD1 and SCD2 slowly changing dimensions. So you can implement that in Hive, right? Currently, right? You can handle that in your queries. You can implement SCD1, SCD2 through your Hive query language, right?
So if we can use that if you using that internal table and we are using the transactional properties true, then we can use only update or delete. But I want to find that particular account number, then I want to update the particular account number in address. So those kind of scenarios not available in Hive, right? So like in case account number A is getting address while inserting that, the address is Chennai. So tomorrow they updated address here Bangalore. So in the RDBMS, we can find that while running that script, it will find that the account number A is, so the updated address is Chennai to Bangalore, so it will automatically update. So those kind of scenarios not available in Hive, right? So I need to implement those kind of scenarios in Hive.
Hive does support CRUD operations for ORC format. Do you know that?
No, I don't know that.
Okay, it's fine. How do you optimize a Hive query? What are all the factors that you consider for optimizing a Hive query?
So yeah, first if you want to optimize a Hive, then we have to use partitioning and bucketing. So main thing is if you're using partition bucketing, it will improve the iQuery performance. Then we can use predicate push down, and then we can use CBO cost-based optimization. Then we can use vectorization, and we can use map side join, and we can use multi insert. So those kind of optimization I use. We can use that table level. If you want to improve the table level performance, you can use snappy compression. So those kind of optimization I have used right now in my project.
Do you know predicate push down in Hive?
Yeah, I know that predicate. Normally that Hive it will do that join, then it will do the where condition. If you enable the set.hive. Optimize.ppd, then if you enable true, then it will do that where condition filter, then it will do the join.
Okay, I mean, you know what strict mode is in Hive?
Yeah, stick mode in the sense, if you stick mode in the sense, it will read the entire rows. If you not segment, it will but static partition we are using a stick mode, and dynamic partition we are using non-stick mode.
Can you explain what a dynamic partitioning is?
Yeah, dynamic partition, if you don't know the partition column and partition values, we can use the dynamic partition. So if you are loading via batch mode, then you can use dynamic partition. So if you are creating the table, if you don't know the partition column, then you can go for the dynamic partition. So compared to static partition, dynamic partition taking some more time. because it will read each and every line. It will find that where is the partition column, where is the partition value. It will find it will load that table. If you consider that static partition, while the dynamic partition we can insert manually also. So we have to give insert overwrite and table, and we need to give partition bracket. We have to give which is the partition column. We can give the partition column. So we need to give the select. You can mention what are the columns we want to select. The final column should be a partition column. So I will consider a final column as a partition column. So these are the way we can insert dynamically the static manually. We can use that dynamic partition. So static partition, if you know that partition column and partition value, you can go for that static partition. Static partition we can load in path where the file is available into table, and we need to mention the partition column and partition value. So it will load the automatically partition value and partition column in the table. So these are the things we are using.
What was the error that you faced and you found it difficult to solve while in these 5 years of your big data experience?
I have handled most of the scenarios in Hive level. Hive level, we are not facing any of the errors, because Hive level only we need to improve the performance. Means we are having multiple optimizations. But at Spark level, if you want to improve the performance, so we have to write query as per that data. So those kind of scenario only I have faced. Right now I am dealing with 100 million records. So even though I have that very good cluster, I have 20 node cluster, but still that query is taking 20-25 minutes. So those are the things that I can't able to rectify. So it's the only thing I'm handling so far in the PySpark. Remaining, I think it's a small error, so we can rectify once we get some idea.
Okay. Did you try to optimize? I mean, after the optimizations you have applied, even after that, it is taking 20-25 minutes?
Yeah, even on the Spark, I have used the cache, persist, and I try to avoid the actions. So then I try to convert the repartition policy. So I tried almost all the availability in that Spark, but still that we having a huge number of 100 million records, right? So I can't able to reduce into less than 5 minutes or less than 10 minutes. Still it's running 25 to 30 minutes.
Mohan, I want to know, you said previously to submit a Spark application, right? So are you generating any jar to submit application on Spark?
No, we are submitting PySpark directly. We are not generating any jar.
Which file you are submitting? .py.
.py.
Okay.
Once we enter the folder, we are giving the submit and executor go driver memory, and we are submitting that file itself directly.
Correct. I need small clarification here from your end. So how you are achieving the numbers, like number of executors or memory, driver memory, executor memory, number of cores, something like that?
So we are using we can first availability is based on the cluster size and the cluster executor size. So after that we are implementing as a Spark length. So we are implementing some of the jar. So it will calculate how much memory and how much executor we need to give that as per your job.
What jar? Which one you are executing to get these details?
Spark length.
Spark?
Length.
Spark lens.
Yeah.
Spark lens is a tool, or what is this?
Spark lens is a tool, so we are including as a jar in that command line itself.
So it will give you number of resources required to execute the query.
Yeah, it will give the detailed description of how much memory you are allocated, how much we need to allocate. So it will give some appropriate result for that particular.
So to get those details, what are the inputs that we need to pass?
We can pass only jar file, and we can give that which application you are running. We can give the only application name.
But you said you are not creating jar file, right? You are just executing .py.
We are importing that jar file from outside, right? We are not providing any PySpark jar.
Okay, let us say you written one code, okay, in PySpark.
Okay.
In code is having, let us say, more than 3 tables you joined to achieve one transformation. Okay. So
Okay.
the tables are huge, and however, you have a sufficient resources in your cluster. So how can you decide, or what are the parameters that you pass to get the values to execute the script in a Spark Lens?
Spark Lens is not considered about table.
Mhm. You're getting me right? What I'm asking?
Yeah, I
You
understand.
are trying to execute a complex query, which generally take 1 hour time in a Hive, but instead you want to approach the same execution query, I mean, the same complex query, want to execute within a minute or 10 minutes by using Spark, right? So
Yeah.
to achieve that, you are saying that you will get the parameters from Spark Lens tool. So what are the parameters to pass as an input to get the output values?
Right now, I don't know.
All right. Okay. No problem. So you said you are using both Hive and Spark. Okay.
Yeah.
Which part of your application you are using Hive and which part of application you are using Spark?
So loading data from Oracle to Hive, we are using Hive. Then once we want to do any transformations or aggregation, so once we get the data from Hive, we are doing aggregation. We are loading that final result into Hive table. Again, Hive table, or we are loading as a output file also.
Can you please clarify? You are said you are taking data from Oracle to Hadoop. So what type of file that you are transferring from Oracle, or Oracle means definitely it should be structured, right?
Yeah,
So
structured
structured
one.
data. So while you are loading data into Hadoop, I mean, what file format that you are using? When you create a stage table, what file format that you have used while creating a
We are
Hive table?
you are asking Hive, right? We are using a TXT. We are using I have used both TXT and ORC format. And we are the stage, sometimes we are using external one, external table.
Can you please tell me what are the file formats that we have available for
In Hive,
especially Hive?
Hive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hive we are having ORC, Avro, and Parquet and text.
Okay. So uh, what file format is the best for writing a data, and what file format is best for reading a data? Best
Yeah.
means faster, we can say.
So Avro is writing,
Mm-hmm.
ORC is reading. Because Avro is a row formatted. If you write, it will write like row. But ORC it will write column. So if you're using that any comparison, then you can use ORC because all the data types are same. If you consider the Avro, the data type is different. So if you want to write, then you can use Avro. If you want to read faster, then you can use ORC.
I will ask one question here regarding the file format. I will tell you
Okay.
two file formats. One is text file format and second one is Parquet. Okay. While writing data into Hadoop or Hive table, which file format will perform better? That means which file
Uh,
format will take less time to write the data into Hadoop?
write means you can go for the TXT.
TXT. So,
Yeah.
okay, I will ask you one more question. What about ORC versus text to file in case of write?
Overseas, we having that comparison texting available, but text we don't have any comparison texting. Table level.
So, do you think now versus ORC and text file, which one faster in case of writing?
In case of writing, text file is faster.
Okay. So, in case of reading,
In case of reading, overseas is faster.
okay, good. Now tell me, so what is the scheduler generally you are
We are using
doing?
Airflow scheduler.
What is that?
Airflow.
Airflow. Acha, Airflow scheduler. Okay. So you are saying you are creating data frames, right? So
Yeah.
when you are creating data frame, like a stage table, that means Hive table only. You are writing into Hive table. The data is present in a Hive table in a stage
Yeah.
level, and
Yeah.
from where a Spark is coming to picture here.
So once we are getting the data from Oracle to Hive, right? So that data is minimum one-to-one mapping. Sorry, there is no more calculations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are the things are available in that Oracle? Same things are available in that Hive. We are added only the particular ETL date and some of the date column and background ID.
Mm-hmm.
So those information only available in that Hive table.
Okay.
So as per the business requirement, they want to add two of the columns. They want to add some of the order ID, some of the account number, some of the additional fields we need to include, right? So those kind of scenario, we are imported Hive table into Spark, and we are doing all the process into PySpark. And finally, we are creating one more Hive table with the aggregation value, and we are loading that PySpark output into Hive table.
I understood. Now, can you please tell me, out of Hive table, you're trying to create a data frame while doing transformations, right?
Yeah.
So how you are integrating Hive with Spark?
Same, Hive connect. We are using Spark session using ODBC connection. We are using that Hive connection details.
You mean Thrift server?
Yeah, Thrift server only. Yeah.
You're using Thrift server to connect Hive and then pull the data and create the data frames out of it.
Yeah, Thrift server.
Okay. While writing, right? After doing all the transformations, while writing the data, what format that you generally used in your application into Hive table?
Right now we are using a CS. We are using an external table, right? And the final output table is external table. So we can place a TXT or CSV, right? So they will read that file in the table itself.
What is the Hive version that you are using?
Hive we are using a 3.0.0.
What is the distribution you are using? Cloudera or
Cloudera distribution we are using.
What is the version?
We are using 6.3.2. Latest is 7.2.
All right. What is the major difference between map and flat map?
Map it will work based on the each record level, but flat map it will work each elements level. If you giving any like row hi how are you and comma, if you give hello how are you means it will provide the output as hi how are you, and square bracket you comma it will provide the hello how are you. That flat map it will provide hi comma hello comma, it will give that separate value. How you are using that, if you using that for loop, how it will provide that each row like that way it will provide the flat map values.
Okay. So what is your project objective? Like, after transformation, you again load into the Hive target table. Then from there, from where, I mean, it goes. What is the objective of your project?
Sometimes the ones that we are using PySpark to do some of the aggregator, we are loading again into Hive, right? So based on the Hive, we are creating a view, and we are providing that view into UI. So UI in the sense it's a text box, comma box, right? So they will create some of the front end page. So they are using a view to get the information, and that client will directly log into that UI page, and they will get the information as per the requirement. So sometimes they want to send the file, means once that output is available in that PySpark, right, we will directly send to that mail of users for daily report or monthly report like that.
Okay.
So Mohan, how long have you been working on Python?
Python we are using only for the wrapper to get that Oracle data into Hive, right? So I worked only smaller parts of in that Python.
Okay. So Python, you think is not one of your skills?
I can handle some of the scenario in Python.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So how you are good at Airflow?
Airflow, just we are creating only the tag. So we are not doing. There is a separate team, so they are dealing with the tag. So we are just providing that script, and they will create a tag. So I'm not working in Airflow.
Okay. That's fine, Mohan. I think we are done. You have any questions or any feedback you require?
I want to know how I perform, where I need to improve those kind of performance.
Yeah. So Mohan, one thing I would definitely say is like the answers you are giving, communicating clearly, improving our communication. So I would suggest to work on that. Yeah, that is something, a definite thing that you have to. I would definitely suggest you to look into. And coming to the technical side, like I think whatever you have worked on, you are comfortable in that. But as a like 5+ years experience, right? Like you would be questioned on design part of things as well. So that you can work on that design part as well more, or at an architecture level, designing a
Design part in
project.
the
And
sense,
hello.
designing part in the sense, what you try to mean?
Yeah, so when I say design part of it, right, like when you said what role you have played in the project, right, you said your daily activity is to like processing that data from Oracle. And I mean, whatever you have said, the roles that you have played, I was expecting something like you have designed something, you have built something. So that's, I mean, given you have like 8 years of experience, I was expecting something like that, like you've been part of designing something. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you do you have that experience, like building the project, being part of planning the design for a project, architecture? When I have asked you what are the roles that you have played, I was expecting like I have designed this, I have been part of a design, I have been part of architecture. It would be great
Okay.
if you say that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Now
that's
I
what I'm trying to.
Yeah, but what I observed is a little faster. So if you are try to just slow down when you are explaining your answers, that will be very good because what we say definitely opposite person should understand clearly, right? So that's the way you have to improve little bit when you are explaining your answers, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Mohan, like your technicals, like whenever you are handling these questions, right, you are pretty confident and in whatever you are saying. So that is a plus point. But yeah, as I've said, like communication skills and providing clear cut, explaining clearly is something would be of a greater deciding point.
Okay.
I think in this particular interview, we did not tested to the potential that you can. Like we did not ask you questions. We
Code
did
level.
not tested
Code.
you on like for a 8 years experience. So I mean, that's one thing we can say. But from whatever we have tested on, you have been pretty good.
No, I'm asking that which are the questions I have answered. Whether I have answered all the questions properly, or I need to give some extra points to
Yeah,
for all the like that. Yeah.
yeah, Mohan, I think just go through once again this Hadoop. Like you said, when we are asking about the name node, right? So
Yeah.
name node, where this metadata will be stored, that you should be clear. Okay. Generally, name node use memory to load its metadata. Okay.
Yeah, I thought to tell that memory, but suddenly it comes
No problem.
it's storing in the memory only, but
Correct.
suddenly it comes
Because you know, right, storing data in a hard disk is slower than the storing in a data memory, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, Mohan, you should have got that. Like, I have asked you again, like writing
correct.
to the RAM is faster. I mean, even then you continued on your.
Okay,
I,
so in
yeah.
that case, you can say that I'm not sure. I will go back to the basics once again. Something like
I
that
know
is
the
no problem.
answer, but I wrongly told
No
storing in
problem.
hard disk.
So this is one, and
Okay.
you know, like when I was asking about the file formats, right? So
Yeah.
most of the cases you said correctly, but as compared to Avro, when you are explaining why you are explaining Avro, I don't know, because I was asking you very simple questions like when you are loading data into your stage layer, so loading means writing only, right? So which file format is more suitable?
So
You know the
writing means
answer.
you
You know
can
the
go for
answer.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. Text to file format, a text file format is very much faster than any other when we are writing a data. right? That is the
Yeah.
answer that
Yeah.
you set it. Okay, there's no problem. But I don't know why you have explained in a Avro. Okay, and I didn't
So
ask you about
Avro
Avro.
also is Avro and text also they doing the same process. So even
No,
Avro having
Avro.
advantages of that he having metadata, right? Table level metadata.
Correct, correct.
Uh,
See, you're correct. See, Avro will come into the picture when you are trying to do multiple times. If you want to change the schema of the table or schema of the values, then that time Avro is more suitable. And average, I mean, Avro performance is middle. Like it is not that much slower, it's not that much faster in two
yeah.
cases. Okay, writing and reading. So average is a format where we have to use in a special cases that is based on the business requirement. Okay, but as you are saying, in your application, I thought Avro might be not used, but instead, while writing, you can use a text file format, and while reading means core. You can say if you have two stages, stage and core level. Stage is completely, reading, right? And core mainly number of times we will hit the query to get the results, like through views or some business requirement. So writing is also, I mean, writing is once, but reading many times. That time, Parquet and ORC will give you better performance, right?
Yeah.
This was
Yeah. I
I'm
understand.
expecting.
Yeah.
You can explain like this. Okay, you know the answer, but you can explain like this. You got it,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, Mohan, like when you said, when I've asked you about CRUD operations, right, you were saying if you want to do an updation of one particular column in a record, you said you wanted to improve that, and I've asked you about CRUD operations, right? ORC format does support these update, delete operations.
Yeah, ORC will support the update delete, but in that if you consider the RDBMS, it will not update. It will change that old value into new value, and it will keep it as a new old value also as a higher. So those kind of scenarios not available now, right? SAD one slowly changing. It will update that old value and it will keep that new value also.
You can I mean you can have that, right? Like if you want to update, and you are saying you have to have two records, you want to maintain the history as well.
Yeah, history like that way.
Yeah, if you want to maintain the history, you can go for SAD2 or SAD3, right?
Okay, so those kind of scenario we are not handling. That's why I try to
Okay. Okay,
explain.
fine. Yeah, so these things like knowing these slowly changing dimensions 1, 2, 3, and how do you implement it? Uh, these, I mean, it's kind of the basic need for any project that you would work on, because I mean, if you are handling data, you would like to know, you should be knowing what kind of so there are like operations, right? Like you can always insert override the data, you can always maintain the latest record, you can always maintain the latest record and the history. So these three are the basic things for handling data in tables, right? So that you should definitely know as a experienced resource, right? Experienced professional, you should definitely know these things.
Yeah, okay.
And one more thing, the most important question in any big data interview is Hive. When you are using in a Hive, Hive tuning or performance tuning is very important, right? Have you increased your performance? Yes, there are several steps. We cannot directly go to the partitions. Partition is one of the part, where we can implement. We have multiple performance techniques which are available in Hive, we should use based on our business requirement or based on our requirements, right? So
Yeah.
you can say indexing, you can say partitioning, you can say file
File
formats,
format.
with snappy compression technique, something like that. You can say parallel processing. In Hive is also having some parallel processing. By default, it is disabled. We have a one command, one statement where we can enable the parallel processing. This is all based on the requirement or based on the complexity of query. Okay, so there are many other techniques to utilize to get the better performance. Okay, so the moment when we ask a question regarding performance tuning, you have to explain first of all available opportunities, available sources, and then based on that you have to take one example, then explain. If your data is this, if your data is this, if transformation is this, then you have to use this, something like that you have to explain, so that interviewer get a very good a very good idea on you, that you aware everything, right? So how you feel, Mohan, after this? Is it useful for you?
I need to improve some of my technical level and my communication level. So I need to understand the question. I need to answer properly. So
Yeah,
that
more
to
like
explain very
you kind of are in a hurry to answer. You kind of are hurried.
yeah.
Yeah,
Some
it's
questions
totally
I
fine.
know the answer, but I try to explain something different, means they can't able. You guys are can't able to understand, right? So asking again. So I know the
Yeah.
answer, but I'm telling the wrong way. So it will
Correct.
get bad impression.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Also, one thing is that, Mohan, so I mean, if we are answering basic questions, and then only then they will ask you like advanced, like a deeper question. So we should have our basics right. I mean, that's how major interviewers go through. Like they'll start with the basics. If they answer the basics, only then they will try to get into deeper.
If you are interviewing, will you take me? Depends on my performance.
I mean, so if this is the first round, I would definitely take you to the second round. I will definitely tell you to ask you to go to the next level. That's something I would definitely do. But
Thing is,
if it is a final round and deciding round, I'm not sure. Naresh I think is a better person.
not like that, Mohan. See, there is no doubt you have a definitely good skills. Thing is, you need to sharpen that in both the ways, technical and non-technical. Because why I'm telling you, if you are a 2 years experience guy or 3 years experience guy, I never said all these stories. Okay, I simply yes or no. But you are a more experienced person, right? Almost 8 years plus, right? So people will try to look into you all aspects, not only technical. Okay, communication and attitude and technical, then leadership, and the way you are talking. So all these are matter, right?
The thing is, like, Mohan, you definitely have a potential to like get the best of the offers that you have. But I think whatever the way you whatever the experience that we have had just now, I think it would be better if we improve in these things to have best of the offers. You have the potential, so it would be better if you can improve so that you can get the best of the get into best of these companies. Yeah.
Please go through if you are missing something, and whatever
I
that we are
already
placing.
covered all the videos. There is no videos in thing.
Very
Oh,
good.
thank you.
Updated any video. Even I
That's
shared
a
my
compliment
friends
for
also.
us, Mohan. Thank you for that.
Even I shared my friends also. They are also trying in the India.
And also, if possible, you can go through our rest of the videos also for
I already said, right, there is no pending videos. I gone through all the videos.
I'm talking about the tutorials that we are placing. Okay. Thank you so much, Mohan. Anything else
That
before
is okay.
closing this?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.